Hi, I'm Samuel and welcome back to my channel, and in this video we're going to be looking at Clauneck and how to work with him and some of the reasons why you may choose to do that. Now, just to go through some of the what you would call technical aspects of working with Clauneck. So his direction is north or northeast. I get better results with northeast, to be honest. The colours associated with working with Clauneck would be green, very dark green seems to work better, purple, silver and even gold. And from my experience, if say you were going to use a specific candle to work with Clauneck, green or silver really does seem to work the best. If you're going to give offerings to Clauneck, I would recommend anything that represents wealth, so coins, notes of money. I've at times burnt notes as sort of a dedication to the work that I'm doing and a commitment to sort of sacrificing that money to know that it will come back and then some. Now his N, and there are a few different N's if you look online. I'm not sure why there are so many variations of the N. Some of them are completely different, but this is the N that I use. Avalan SN Clauneck Kia. Now, one very important thing to address with Clauneck is that you may give offerings, you may burn money, you may meditate every day for a month. The main thing that Clauneck seems to like and respect when working with him is the hard work. Put the actual hard work in. If you're working with him for business or financial reasons and you're not putting that work in, you're not working on your own business or even sending out the applications, Clauneck is likely to teach you a lesson. He's one of the unique spirits in that area where you will probably be taught a lesson of get off your arse and do the work, really. Now, I haven't seen many people mention how to use the Sigill Activation with Clauneck, and it's something that I tend to do pretty much every time I work with him. Now, I use this in a couple of different ways. I will either chant this activation as I'm drawing out the Sigill, or I will draw it on the back of the Sigill once I've completed it and then do the chanting of the activation just to bring that energy in. So let me share with you what that is, and I'll bring this up on the screen so you can actually translate what I'm saying here. So it's Ha egal denasta deduna Hultiva tenebres denun sin. Now, excuse my Yorkshire accent. You may pronounce some of those words slightly differently, but that's how I say those words. So working with Clauneck, and I believe that this applies to pretty much any spirit that you're going to work with, but particularly with Clauneck, he can be very particular. Make sure you know what you want and what you're going to say, speak about, etc. before trying to work with him. And build that connection first. Think of it almost as a relationship. If you meet, some of your friends, if you think back to when you met them for the first time, would that friendship have developed if during that first conversation you asked them for money? Maybe, maybe not, probably not, to be honest. So don't, during the first sort of meditation contacts that you do with Clauneck, come from a position of like me, put money in my hands, give me money, I want money, because that's just not going to be respected. Always have the relationship, building that relationship first, but also have a point. Even if that point is just I want to talk to you, that's still a point. And absolutely do not do this with any of these spirits. Make contact just to see if they're real, because that's very likely to not go very well. So if you were going to start this connection with Clauneck, I would recommend doing this in a quiet space where you won't be interrupted and there's minimal distractions, and cleanse your space. And I've got videos on my channel about cleansing, and you've probably got your own technique of how to do that, but cleanse your space. And know that you're not cleansing your space from Clauneck. That would kind of defeat the purpose. What you're doing is you're cleansing your space to keep it balanced, but you're also cleansing your space as protection from yourself. That's the main reason that I do cleansing and protection. It's from myself. So all of these subconscious thoughts, these anxieties, fears that may come up, and as experienced as I am, it can still happen. I do the cleansing to ground the area, get the area as balanced as possible, but also myself as balanced as possible, so that I'm protected from myself, if you know what I mean. Now, as part of this protection and balancing, you could do something like the lesser banishing. I think that would be a good idea. A lot of practitioners I know have a problem with doing things like the lesser banishing and then working with deities like Lilith or Clauneck or Astaroth. They feel that it doesn't mix well, but for me it mixes absolutely perfectly, and there's no conflicts there whatsoever. So personally, I would recommend do the lesser banishing, do it really well, really concentrated, and then you can now sit down and just start to concentrate on your breath, start to relax, and just close your eyes and just let yourself sink and drift. That's how I feel. Once you've reached that point, then I feel it's appropriate to either mentally, in your mind's eye, concentrate on the Sigill, or if you've drawn it out, you can actually just hold it in front of you and allow your eyes to gaze into it. Don't stare. It's almost like those magic eye pictures from the 90s. You relax your eyes and just gaze. You don't stare as hard as possible at Sigills. That doesn't really seem to work for me. But whichever works best for you, you can experiment with both approaches, mentally and actually visually, if you want to. Now at this point, as you're doing that, potentially contact or some kind of interaction will start to happen between you and Clauneck. And I always get asked, how do you know, is it Clauneck? And for relative beginners or first timers working with Clauneck, it's a very good question, and I always ask the question when working with new spirits: are you Clauneck? If not, you must leave. And that seems to work quite well. You over time get to sense and feel the energy of these spirits individually, and you get to a point where you just know. Like, particularly for me with Lilith, who I've probably worked with the most, I just know that energy. I know that feeling so well now that if there's anything potentially not Lilith coming through, it's dealt with very quickly, and it doesn't really happen, to be honest, because imposters of Lilith are probably not going to have a good experience when Lilith actually comes through. So what's likely to happen when this contact starts to come through is you'll either have visualizations, or you'll hear sounds, or even voices. And a lot of the time, and it is kind of hard to explain, it sounds similar to your own voice but different. And as you develop these relationships, you'll start to understand these voices as something external from yourself. And there is a lot of discernment in this part of magic work as to, am I thinking this? Is this something external? Am I saying these words? Or am I thinking of these visualizations? And just over time, as you get better with your practice, as you get more skilled and experienced with meditation and rituals, you'll start to know what is your conscious and subconscious and what is external. And that's a very difficult thing to explain, and probably requires a whole separate video just on the subject itself. But you will start to know there's that difference between yourself and these spirits. So like I said earlier, these first few meditations should just be contact, asking Clauneck, would you be prepared to work with me? I'd like to know more about you, etc. Once that starts to develop a bit more, then that's when you can start to be a bit more specific with your actual goals. And don't be, scared to actually ask, like, this is what I need, this is why I need it, this is what I think I can do to get this, but what help or advice can you give me? Clauneck works very, very quickly in these circumstances. The last few times I've worked with him, the last time I worked with him in particular, it worked, and it worked very well before I'd even finished the meditation and had time to turn my phone back on and seen that it had worked. And it was very unexpected as well, but it had just somehow worked in the hour and 10 minutes that I'd been working with him. So yeah, that is how quick he can potentially work. Now, when you are ready to finish this interaction, finish this ritual work, I always recommend that it's like when you've had a guest round to your house and it's time for you to go to bed and then leave, and you just politely say thank you for coming, thank you for your help, and if you could now please leave because I need to go to bed or go to work or whatever. Now, if Clauneck doesn't leave at this point, and I've seen people that disagree with me on this, but I think it's okay to be a little bit firmer and just reclaim back your space. These are relationships by choice, and you never come to these interactions on your knees begging or anything like that. So I think it is okay to be a little bit firmer of, I am closing this ritual down and it is now time for you to leave, and you must. I need to reclaim my space back. Very few times I've had to do that in any ritual work, but when I have, it has worked, and there's no disrespect there. It's almost it seems to be understood as sort of a show of strength, and when they don't immediately leave, it seems to be kind of a test of how strong are you. Now, speaking of tests, one thing that I have experienced with Clauneck is he will test your ability. He will test your ability in the financial area that you're wanting help, but he will also test your ability in the world of magic and the occult. He will test you, and there's no easy way to say it. He can be very picky with who he works with. If he doesn't think that you're up to scratch, if he doesn't think that you're worth his time, if he doesn't think that you're experienced enough, he just absolutely will not work with you. But that just means that you're not ready at that point, and you can just work on those skills and come back to Clauneck when you feel more ready. Anyway, I hope this video was helpful, and after a reasonably long break, I am now back on YouTube. I've been working on some other things that I hopefully will be able to share at some point quite soon. Quite exciting news, but I am now back, and thank you for watching this far. And if you have watched this far, please like and subscribe. I would appreciate that.